Good morning. Well, I'm here to talk about what I do as a living, as my profession. And I think everybody knows that I am a body worker and an acupressure. I'm a licensed massage therapist, and I'm also a professional acupressure, Jinshindo acupressure therapist, which has been my great pleasure to combine the two modalities. So I have created a system for myself that nobody else really does because I put it together myself. So it's very powerful. The practice is an hour of massage and a half an hour of acupressure. So I have a map or a chart that is how acupressure works in the body. There are 5 elements and they all interact, and each, sure. Well, I'm not going to do a whole lot with it. I just want to show you.
Okay.
So this is really the true energy, how energy works in your body. And I have put on 2 talks to different groups of people and gone through the whole thing very precisely. And I looked up and I saw everybody with glazed eyes. So we're not doing that today. But there are 5 elements and they all interact. Water puts out fire. Fire melts metal. Metal cuts wood. And wood grows out of the earth. So they're all very interconnected, and whatever controls the other is how it's how the acupressure works. And when there's an imbalance, it's because one of these or 2 of these elements are out of balance, and I do pulses in the wrists that tell me where how the meridians are working together. So anyway, this is the chart, but we're not going to do anything more than that because it's really long and boring, and you wouldn't understand it, and you'd never use it, so I'm not going to do that.
So where do I put it?
We can just put it anywhere.
Okay.
So say thank you, everybody. So I want to tell the story of how I became a body worker. I was a hairdresser. When I first got out of high school, I went to beauty school, and I had my own salon, and then I had another salon, and I did hair for almost, it was like 28 years. I stood behind a chair. And I expected to do hair till I was 94, and said, honey, let me cut your hair. The universe had another idea for me. When I went through a very difficult divorce, and my ex-husband literally took everything, took the money. And anyway, my life as a hairdresser began to change. There was a couple things that happened in my life that made me realize that I needed to maybe change. Gee, change is really good. So I had a friend that when I was going through my divorce, I met a woman and we became roommates, and we rented a house together. And she was a really, really an animal activist. And she found out that there was a pit bull that needed a home. I have always had Cocker Spaniels, and I knew that pit bulls are really great with people, but they're not always so great with other dogs. So I said to her, she really wanted me to go meet this dog. She wanted this dog. And I said, well, this dog is going to have to be okay with my Cocker, or we can't have him. So it was really the impetus of a dog that set me on my path to becoming a healer. So I thank the canine population in my life. So we went and met Max. He was a 4-year-old, 45-pound pit bull, and he was a sweetheart. He was a great dog. he did well with my cocker. The thing that I did not ask when I got him was he raised in a house with a fenced-in yard, or was he walked? Well, you don't find too many houses you can rent that have fenced-in backyards, and so the first time I walked him, he dragged me around like I was and I was very thin because I had just gone through a divorce and things were, I was young. And the next day I woke up and I couldn't turn my head or move my arm, which is not good for a hairdresser. So I went to a chiropractor, and the guy knew my ex-husband, and he had an attitude about me, and he didn't help me in the least, and I was still in screaming pain. So Jill, my friend that I was living with, had been seeing Justin Pomeroy, who is an acupressure maestro in downtown Chicago. Where we lived in the northern suburbs in Illinois was up near the Illinois-Wisconsin border, and the city was an hour and a half away. Well, she decided to take pity on me and drove me. We went back to the house, and she's saying, call Justin, call Justin, call Justin. Well, my husband took all the money, and it's usually not very cool to go and ask somebody to fix you when you don't have the money to pay for it. And I said, I don't have any money. And she said, just call him. So I called him. It was like a Thursday morning. And he answered the phone, and I said, hi, my name's Cathy Caldwell. I'm a friend of Jill's. And he said, oh, I know all about you, because Jill was seeing him on a regular basis. And I told him what had happened. And he said, lady, you must have been born under a lucky star, because I just had 2 cancellations. And if you get in the car right now, I can treat you. This man was a very busy man. He had a big practice, but the woman, Iona Teagarden, that brought Jin Shindo into our country, was a brilliant woman. She lived in California, and she realized that she needed a sales force, and so she networked with all these young acupuncturists. When they graduated from acupuncture school, she networked with these guys and sent them all over the world. And they went to all different countries and started teaching Jin Shindo, which is what it's called is Jin Shindo is the practice. And so she sent these people all over the world to teach, to take it to the world. So Justin wasn't around very often, and when he was in the city, he was booked solid. So I was really blessed to be able to get in to see him. I think my friend was kind of in love with him, and so when she dropped me off in the Loop, I didn't even know where I was. I went to his condo, and I knocked on the door, and I expected an Adonis to answer the door, because she had built him up in my mind that he was this magnificent. And this little hippie guy answers the door, and he's staring at me. He was staring at me like he had almost seen a ghost. And I'm really uncomfortable because I'm in pain, and this guy is just staring at me. I finally said, my name's Cathy, and I'm a friend of Jill's. And he goes, oh, please, please come in. And then he said, this might sound a little strange, but may I please see your hand? I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm having a really bad day. So he walked me over, it was summer, he walked me over to a plate glass window, and he was looking at my palm. And he looked up at me, and he's looking at my palm, and he's looking up, and he looked down, and he goes, my dear, do you realize that you are a natural-born healer? And not only are you a natural-born healer, but you're an intuitive healer. And I'm going to have a class here in 2 weeks, and I would like you to be my student. I said, Justin, I don't have any money. Things are really rough. He said, my dear, you have the rest of your life to pay me back. So 2 weeks later, I found myself in his living room, and there were 10 of us. And And the first thing they did, and you know I'm a hairdresser, so I had the nails and the whole bit, was they passed around clippers, and I had to cut my nails off. Thank you, God, that I wasn't vain enough to say, I can't do this and walk out, because I would have missed the time of my life, which is doing the work that I do now, and I love it so very much. So I cut my nails off. For 5 years, I studied with him. What he did was he had intensive, because he was out traveling so much, he had intensive weekends that would start on Friday night and then end on Sunday afternoon. And the group of us got to be very close, and so when he wasn't in the area, we would get together as a group, and we had to, so what he did, there are 3 levels of Jin Shin Do, the training. And so what we would do is we would get together and he'd just throw the whole, everything, we'd go through the whole chapter or whatever, the whole thing that we had to learn, and there were 3, the whole level, and he'd just pour it over us, and it was up to us to take it home and learn it. I'm a really good student when somebody's spoon feeding me, and I had to learn this was really hard for me because I am a little dyslexic, and I had to memorize and I had to learn all this stuff, and then you had to practice it. So, I mean, it was a very intense training, and it was up to us to do it. We just had him go through the levels, do his thing, and then it was up to us to learn it. And so that was very challenging for someone like me that learns really well with somebody giving me, you know, telling me this stuff. I had to learn it by myself and practice it. I had to do a 170-hour internship before I could take the test to be, you know, to be certified. So there was a lot of work that went into it, and it was over, I would say it was a 5-year process from beginning to end that it took me before I actually took it out on my own and had my own practice. I love what I do, and so then, you know, I'm doing the acupressure. I thought this was back before people actually in the middle class section of our economy, there was no such thing as the regular people getting massages at the time, much less acupressure. But there was schools to go to massage, to learn massage. And I thought, I have my shingle, but nobody's doing this stuff. And I could hang my shingle out, but what good would it do? So that's what gave me the impetus to go to massage school. And I went to 3 different massage schools. I went to, my friend and I both went, Linda Lou, my best friend, had a friend in San Diego. And so we decided to go to massage school in San Diego together, she and I. And this woman lived in Laguna Beach, and if any of you know California, it's one of the most beautiful beaches in California. So we stayed in San Diego and drove an hour, stayed in Laguna Beach and drove an hour every day to San Diego, and I was there for a long time, and I had a blast doing it. So I got done with that massage school. I graduated from massage school, and then I came back to Illinois and had an opportunity to study with a group of people also that were doing massage and some other different modalities, and I took that. And then when I landed here in Muskegon, Blue Heron had medical massage training, so I've actually had 3 different schoolings in massage plus my acupressure therapy. So I went to Blue Heron and immediately got hired by Dr. Greg Ling here in Muskegon, and I worked with him for 14 years. Things changed. I ended up pretty much taking my massage therapy home because the relationship with me and Greg changed when he hired another massage therapist and ended up marrying her. And I kind of lost my job because of that. I wasn't quite the girlfriend thing. So anyway, for the last several years, I have been working out of my home, and I have a very nice practice. I love what I do, and I think that I'm pretty good at it. The combination of the acupressure along with the soft tissue is very different than just getting a massage. You feel the energetics, you get the benefit of the energetics, which is the Jinshindo, and it's a complement to soft tissue massage. And my life has been enriched, and I just love what I do. I think that it's a pleasure if you can find in your life something that not only nourishes you, gives you monetary support, and it also fills your heart and soul with what you do. So with that, that's what I do. Does anyone have any questions?
I got a question.
What?
So, how does the intuitive part play in from your gift of being, you said you were intuitive?
The gift that God gave me that I am so grateful for is when I'm working with people, I can feel everything. And Barb, you know that. I mean, I can just feel the body and I can feel everything. And when I'm working on people, I can feel where there's stuck places. I can feel what needs to be released. I have the gift of touch, and not everyone gets that. So that's the intuition part. So, and most people leave pretty happy.
Yeah, I would like to give more of a testimonial to Cathy. I have come to her over the years, and she has the ability to, the very first touch on your body is the key spot of your issues at that time. I am so
Thank you.
grateful and fortunate for knowing you.